ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। गम गुरु वाचालम मनोमूलं हृदय कृपा तमहं वंदे श्री गुरु दीनतारणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम तत्सत्। So today is the most auspicious day of Lord Narasimha Chaturdashi. So fortunately the class is also today happens to be. And right now as we are speaking, Lord Narasimha Dev is fighting with Hiranyakashipu. The fight started at noon, it ended at dusk. So we are midway in the fight. So the peak time action. I don't know who else accepted today's invite, but it looks like there are very few. I thought today I want to discuss a few things about Lord Narasimha's glories. Hemant is also coming. Okay. But anyway, let them come. But today is a very special day. I'm not going to discuss the story, but I'm going to discuss some aspects. Most of you, Hare Krishna, come. So most of you are coming for our convention next week. We have another group where we've already published the itinerary and the bookings and everything. Yeah. So any questions, any comments? You reach out to Shalini ji, or of course I am also available. And we will support you whatever way we can. So please do participate with full enthusiasm. We will keep more information posted in the group. So those who cannot make it for the full trip, if you want to come just for Saturday, come in the morning, go in the evening, whatever, if it suits you, then that's also another option. Of course, there's nothing like staying together, because that will give us a very, very deeper, intense experience, which will actually help us spiritually very much. So on Saturday next week, we are going to be also celebrating Narasimha Chaturdashi in Port Dixon. So the pastime and a few other lessons from there will also be discussed. But since today is the very day and the fight is going on, we cannot neglect. So I'm going to speak a few things about the speciality of the form of Lord Narasimha. Okay? I think the basic story everybody knows. Anybody who doesn't know the basic story of Lord Narasimha? Everybody knows? Okay. Very quick, 5 minutes, just the story recap. Kashyapa and Diti gave birth to 2 sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Because they were conceived at an inauspicious time, they were born as demoniac persons. That's a long story, I'm just cutting short. Every line that I'm speaking, there is a whole chapter behind it in the Bhagavad. The story is covered in 10 chapters, roughly 650 pages. I'm covering in 5 minutes. Very beautiful, full of lot of beautiful stories and lessons. So both of these very powerful beings, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, were extremely not only powerful, but they were against supremacy of the Lord. And then Hiranyaksha, as you all have heard, the past time he was killed by Lord Varahadev. After which Hiranyakashipu became an even more sworn enemy of Lord Vishnu, and he vowed that he will kill Lord Vishnu and drink his blood. Very foolish, because obviously Lord Vishnu doesn't have a material body like us. But that was his conception. And his life's greatest goal was to become God himself and become immortal. So he started performing a lot of tapasya, and never ever in the history of this whole creation anyone has performed as intense tapasya, Hare Krishna, yeah, has performed as intense tapasya as Hiranyakashipu. His tapasya, just to give you some idea, he was standing on the tip of his toes, standing up outstretched with his arms like this, in a meditative pose, praying to Lord Brahma, continuously standing like this, not eating, not sleeping, not drinking. And he went on like that, irrespective of the seasons, irrespective of the external conditions, even as creepers were growing on him, even as anthill was gradually developing around him. Not only was the anthill developing, but the ants were eating into his flesh. And they were drinking his blood. Even then he would not move, he would not budge. His penance continued, so very, very intense. And because he was very learned in the wisdom of austerities, he was maintaining his life even though his flesh was eaten away. Practically only the bones were left. Only the bones were left, but still he was continuing his penance. So he did very, very intense. Nobody ever in the history has done such kind of penance. So eventually, his penance produced so much energy and heat in the universe that even the devatas were disturbed. They went to Brahmaji and said, please solve our problem. So Brahma said, okay, fine. Brahmaji appeared in front of him, sprinkled water from his kamandalu, and immediately Hiranyakashipu, his body became beautiful and normal. He fell down in front of Brahmaji, and Brahmaji said, okay, I am pleased with you, what is it that you want? You have performed an incomparable penance, so you will get an incomparable benediction. So he says, yes, I want something that nobody has ever had before, which is to become immortal. So Brahma said, sorry, you are asking the wrong person, because I am not immortal, I cannot give you immortality. So ask for something else. So then he asked for the benediction cannot be killed by men, by animals, by devatas, by weapons, neither inside the house, outside the house, not in the ground, not in the sky, not in the water, not by poison, not by disease, not by old age, not by any living thing, or not even by a non-living thing. So he practically covered all angles. Right? Like a lawyer, when you go to a lawyer, when you're writing a law, you have to make sure you cover from all angles. So there's no loophole in the agreement you make. And that's why what can be said in one word, the lawyer's agreement as in 100 words. Because you put all heavy legal terms. Anybody lawyer here? No, right? Okay. Your wife is a lawyer. She's not here. So you put all these conditions to make it foolproof. And he thought he had made it foolproof, and Brahmaji said, okay. Actually, not only he asked for this not being killed, because not being killed is one part of the solution. But he became very powerful because he asked for all the 8 siddhis. And he said, I want unlimited control on all living entities created by you. It is mentioned in the Bhagavad. They want unlimited on all living beings. So immediately, as soon as he was granted the benediction, nobody could do anything, not even the devatas. Even the devatas were like servants in front of him. Nothing they could do. If the sun's temperature rose, he would just look at the sun. He would raise his eyebrow, the sun would reduce the temperature. When he needed something, some fruits, he would just look at the earth would immediately produce trees and fruits would come. He had so much control over everything. Practically the whole universe was at his command. So that was the extent of his power and control. So he practically controlled everybody beyond Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Because they are not, he had asked for power from all beings created by Lord Brahma. And of course Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu are not created beings in the ordinary sense of the term, because they are not living entities like us. So anyway, that's a long story. I'm not going to go into the full story. But essentially, after getting the benediction, he created a lot of torture. He had a son, Prahlad, amongst his many sons. But this Prahlad was very special because before he was born, his mother was in the house of Narad Muni because he was performing austerity. So he heard the teachings on devotional service from Narad Muni directly. And even as he was born, he was already a great devotee. And when he was sent to the school, he would always teach about devotion to Vishnu. While the school was teaching him all other things that he was not interested in, he would always be speaking about devotion to Vishnu. To the extent that whenever his father would ask him anything about what he was learning, he would just speak about devotion to Vishnu. To the point that he irritated his father so much and irritated his teacher so much because of his staunch devotion to Vishnu, that finally his teachers brought him back to his father and said, we can't train him anymore. Not only is he become a devotee himself, he is teaching the other students to also become devotee. He would start kirtan in the class and he would speak to them about devotion to Vishnu. So it became too much for them to handle. So then finally Hiranyakashipu decided this is too much of a threat. See, this is the nature of demons. Then their own sense, enjoyment and self-interest becomes threatened, they will go to any extent. So he said, okay, fine, just kill my son, no problem. Finish him off. This is become danger to me. So they tried very hard to kill him, but no matter what they tried, they couldn't kill him. After multiple attempts failed, finally Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, where did you get all this power from? You're just going to school, you have not done any austerities. You don't know anything. Where do you get all this power from? I am so powerful because I did all these austerities. What is the source of your power? He says, the source of my power is the same as the source of your power. So he becomes even more upset. Who is that source? That source is Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu becomes very upset. So Vishnu, this is too much. I want to kill Vishnu. Please call him. Where is Vishnu? I want to fight with him now and kill him. Vishnu is there. He is everywhere. So don't tell me he is everywhere. I can't fight with everywhere. You tell me where he is. So he said, is he in this pillar? Yes, he is also in this pillar. And then Hiranyakashipu attacked that pillar and that pillar burst into pieces, and from the pillar came this gigantic, ferocious form of the Lord, half man, half lion form, which actually pounced on Hiranyakashipu. There was this very beautiful, famous battle which happened, which went on apparently right from noon today up to dusk. Why it went so long? Because Lord Narasimha was waiting for the right time. So he was playing around with Hiranyakashipu, and sometimes Hiranyakashipu thought, oh, maybe I will win. The Lord was just playing with him. And the Devatas would sometimes, who were watching the battle from the skies, would become scared. And eventually, when the right time came, the Lord caught him, took him at the entrance of the palace, kept him on the lap, performed surgery without anesthesia. It was the only surgery in this whole creation where the operation was successful but the patient died. Right? Normally when the operation is successful, the patient gets. How come the operation was successful but patient died? Because the patient got liberated. Correct? The operation was successful, right? That was the whole purpose. The patient died, but the operation was successful. The Lord actually killed him. But he was blessed because Narsimhadev personally killed him, and also he was blessed because Prahlad Maharaj personally prayed to Lord Narsimha that please liberate my father. So very, very beautiful. The example of Prahlad Maharaj is very, very exquisite. So that is the basic pastime. So I just want to take a few points on this pastime for discussion, and then I just open the floor for some questions either related to this or to any other topic. This story is actually a very, very beautiful story, and this story is actually very, very dear to the great souls. Because Prahlad Maharaj represents the epitome of a soul who is thoroughly surrendered to the Lord. There is no other interest other than being surrendered to the Lord and dedicate himself to the service of the Lord. And in this particular example, in this particular family, you see two extremes, the father and the son. The father, his name is Hiranyakashipu. What does Hiranyakashipu mean? Hiranya is gold. Kashipu is soft bed. Sometimes referred to as a pillow also. So what is this gold pillow? So Hiranyakashipu was so called because he loved two things. He loved gathering wealth, extremely greedy, and he was extremely attached to material comforts, which are represented by a soft bed. That is why when great souls take to renunciation, they stop sleeping on a soft bed, they start sleeping on a mat. When I was staying in the ashram, I used to sleep on the floor on a mat. Just a thin mat. No pillow also. The hand becomes the pillow. How many of you have slept like that? At least one day in your life, you have? Oh yeah, you were in the VTA also. You stayed in the ashram also, yes? Okay. Of course, once you get used to it, it is not so difficult. But if you are not so used to it, it is quite an austerity. He was also in the ashram for some time. So there are so many great souls here. So Hiranyakashipu was very, very attached to comfort. See, these two signs are actually the core symptoms of a materially attached person. An intense desire to enjoy the senses and an intense desire to accumulate at any cost. Even if my son is killed, no problem. My own enjoyment should not be threatened. That's the whole Hiranyakashipu consciousness. But there's one very beautiful verse which is mentioned in the Bhagavad. I don't recollect the verse itself. But the verse says that even though Hiranyakashipu had such supremacy over the creation practically, he was still unhappy. Still unhappy. This is the problem. The problem was not only that he was materially attached and he wanted wealth, he had practically everything that you can possibly conceive of in this universe. But the important lesson is, he was still unhappy. That is the problem. That is the Hiranyakashipu consciousness. Okay? Why was he unhappy? The Bhagavatam also explains. He says, Ajitendriya. Because he did not have control over his mind and senses. The material consciousness which is attached to sense enjoyment and material gathering, greed, can be summarized by one word. What is that one word? More. I want. And when you get that more, I want more. And when you get that more, I want more. And that more never ends. So even though he practically got everything that could be attained in the universe, he was still not happy. This is the problem, the fundamental problem of material consciousness. That is why people who say, I want to be happy and I am struggling to become happy in the material world, the fundamental problem is there is no such situation that you can achieve. There is no such end state. So this is Hiranyakashipu consciousness. Okay, in summary, I am just summarizing. Now let us analyze Prahlad consciousness. What is the meaning of Prahlad? Yes, Rishi? What is the meaning of the name Prahlad? Like Hiranyakashipu, we broke down to Hiranya and Kashipu. Like that, what is the meaning of Prahlad? Very good. माताजी ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया है. जो सदैव प्रसन्न रहता है, प्रकृष्ट रूपेण आह्लाद. That is called Prahlad. प्रकृष्ट रूपेण. प्रकृष्ट यानी intensely. One who is intensely blissful is Prahlad. Exact opposite of Hiranyakashipu. And what did he have? Whatever is coming, father is feeding, okay, clothes, whatever is going, I am okay. But internally, Prakrishta Rupena Ahlad. And this guy, his father next to him, everything controlling, trying to get happiness through control and through sense enjoyment, but frustrated. And here, Prahlad, I have nothing, but I am simply satisfied. Why was he always satisfied? What was the root of his Prakrishta Rupena Ahlad? What was the source of his happiness? His constant remembrance of Lord Vishnu. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam. Smaranam. What is the apex of Krishna consciousness? If you remember, we discussed in some of the earlier classes that the essence of all instructions of the Vedas is what? Is what? More specifically, Satatam Smartavya Satatam Vishnum Vismartavya na Jatuchit Sarve Vidhi Nishedha Syur Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. That all instructions of the Vedic scriptures finally boil down to two simple instructions. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And Prahlad was the very embodiment of this principle. So he had already achieved the pinnacle of Krishna consciousness. That is why he was not just Ahlad, Prakrishta Rupena Ahlad, extremely happy. So he represented his name in a true sense, fully self-satisfied. And that is why throughout the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is actually emphasizing this aspect again and again to Arjun. Arjun, it is not about winning or losing. It is about the inner experience. It's about the inner experience. And when you do what you do with that internal connection to the Lord, you will experience that intense happiness inside, irrespective of the outcome. The problem with Hiranyakashipu was he was trying to deduce his happiness based on external conditions. But external conditions, you have only limited control. You know what was Hiranyakashipu's greatest frustration? What was his greatest frustration? Suresh Prabhu, what was his greatest frustration?
Why everyone is worshipping Vishnu?
Any other answer?
His brother was killed by Vishnu.
Couldn't find
happiness.
Not control his son.
Yes, correct. He controlled all the devatas. Everybody was following his instructions. He had full control over everything. except his own son. Can you imagine? पूरा दुनिया पे कंट्रोल है. His son is the greatest devotee of his greatest enemy, and he cannot do anything about it. Imagine the frustration for him. Of course, all what we said are also his cause of frustration, but this was his main frustration. It's like recently, because political environment, I remember political analogy. There was this Congress party, some head in Maharashtra. His son changed over to BJP. And so much criticism, and he was feeling bad because I am heading Congress here and my own son is going to fight as a BJP candidate and I cannot do anything about it. Correct? And there was some pandemonium because of that. But that frustration wouldn't have been so much if it was not his own son. अभी क्या मुंह दिखाऊं मैं दूसरों को? What face will I go? So here is the king of the demons who's telling everybody worship me. I am the Lord, and here is his own son. He said, no, you are not God. Vishnu is God, and Vishnu is his arch enemy, and he can do nothing about it. So that was his extremely painful situation. So this is what happens. The more high one goes, the more egoistic one becomes, the more attached one becomes, the more one is pained and troubled and miserable when things don't go according to their desire. Hiranyakashipu consciousness. And this is very important to analyze. See, all these beautiful pastimes are there, but these are the lessons that we have to learn from these beautiful pastimes. It clearly differentiates the consciousness of bliss with the consciousness of frustration. Bliss even without material control. Frustration even with extreme control. Very, very beautiful lesson. And it brings us to another beautiful lesson, which is the great joy of surrendering to the Lord. Prahlad, very interestingly, even when Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in various ways, he had such faith and confidence in Krishna that Krishna will protect him. He was never bothered. He was never worried. He never thought for a moment that I will have a problem. And he thought, even if the Lord doesn't protect me, I have no problem. Because if he wants me to die, it's okay. What is the problem? Of course, we cannot imitate like that unless we reach that level of Prahlad. We cannot say, if we are sick, I will not take medicine. If God wants me to survive, then I will live. And most likely you will not survive. So, don't imitate great souls until you have reached that level. But that was his kind of faith. We take medicine and then leave it to Krishna. That is our standard. And that is how we should do. That is okay. That is okay. Because actually God wants us to do what we can do in our capacity. That is the truth. So there is nothing wrong with it. But Prahlad was a very, very different level of consciousness. A very, very transcendental level of consciousness which cannot be imitated by ordinary people. So that is one beautiful lesson. And the other beautiful lesson that we get from this pastime is the intense love that the Lord has for his devotee. The intense love that the Lord has for his devotee, that he actually appeared from the pillar in this kind of a form, just to please Prahlad. See, all this while, the devatas were praying to him. Ajao, 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 ajao. Madad karo, madad karo. I will go. He didn't come. He said, I will come. But even earlier, when the devatas went to Lord Vishnu, you know what Vishnu told them? I will solve your problem, but I will solve your problem in a different way. Very soon, Hiranyakashipu will have a son who is a very, very great devotee of mine. And when he tries to kill him, at that time I will appear. Because it's not easy to make me come. To make me come, you have to... I must have that pull to come. So Prahlad is such a person for whom I will appear, not just... The Lord had to come in such an emergency. See, normally when Ram came, when Krishna came, we may say that the situation was bad. But still, the mothers bore them as children, they were born, they slowly grew up. Yes, eventually they killed. Yes, Ravan, so many years later killed. Kamsa, so many years later killed. Here, Narsinga, there is no time. No time to take birth, grow up, kill. Now, he is asking my devotee, are you in the pillar? No time. He appeared inside the pillar instantly. That is why it is said, who is the father of Narsingadev? Father and mother is pillar. Stambhe Sthita, the Bhagavatam says. Appeared in the pillar. He accepted the pillar instantly as his father and mother. And he appeared directly in that form, in an intensely angry form. So another lesson to learn is that the Lord will go to any extent to save his devotee from danger, especially those who are very, very dear to him. And the Lord is very, very, very upset when his great devotees are offended. That's another beautiful lesson. So this is a very, very beautiful pastime and meditation. There are many, many lessons. But I want to take a pause here. I want you to reflect on what we have discussed. And if there are any questions, then you can ask. If not, then I can discuss a few more things. So any comments, any questions? Yes. Yes.
They were like gods of Vaikuntha. They were so much elevated, but still they went into the offense. Because to reach Vaikuntha, we have so much credits to do. But why still they do?
So the external explanation is they made a mistake of stopping the Kumaras. But the internal explanation is mentioned in the Bhagavad. The internal reason was that the Lord wanted them to come down on the earth to participate in the creation of his pastimes so that the Lord has a reason to appear. So when the Lord comes down to fight, he doesn't fight with Dawood Ibrahim and Hafiz Saeed and all these chunnu munnu, ordinary demons. The Lord fights with somebody of a stature that even after a million years people are still discussing about it. Yes? Even the greatest powerful people who have lived in our known history, in another few thousand years nobody will know about it. Ramayana, millions of years ago, we are still discussing about Ravan. Correct? We are still discussing about Kamsa, we are still discussing Hiranyakashipu. So many of these personalities, either they are great associates of the Lord, either or they are great souls who made some mistake and unfortunately fell into an abominable situation. And then the Lord, to deliver them, involved them in a pastime in such a way that they were restored to their original position. Also, one of the explanations that is given by the Acharyas is that the Lord wants to enjoy all the rasas. The Lord is a rasaraj, right? The Lord wants to enjoy all the rasas. So all the rasas include the virya rasa. Virya rasa means the chivalry, the desire to fight. So the Lord also likes to... Fighting is not always only a pain. Fighting is also a pleasure. Yes or no? Actually, fighting is pleasure or is pain? Can be both. Okay? So you see, if it's very simple. If you want to understand the answer, don't look at adults, look at the children. They just love, not actually to hurt each other, but they just love to fight and wrestle and roll around, push, jump, and they just have a good time. Correct? Krishna would do that when he was a young small boy in Gokul. He would wrestle and play and I defeated you, yes, and both sides would be happy. It's not that one side is the other side is happy. No, they would be happy. So the Lord also says, I also want to enjoy like this. But I don't want just a friendly fight, I also want serious fight. But who will seriously fight with me? I am the Supreme Lord. Only an extremely special soul who is from the platform that I come from can be a suitable competitor for me. So the Lord engineers this pastime so that these great personalities come down to the world in the role of demons to enhance that rasa of the Lord. So many things are achieved by this. One is the Lord enjoys, the devotee enjoys serving the Lord. The devotees don't mind even becoming a demon to serve the Lord. Because as long as the Lord is happy, I don't have a problem. They are playing a role. It's like a drama. They are playing that role, fine, no problem. Of course, when they are playing that role, they don't know they are playing the role. Krishna knows, they don't know. Not that Hiranyakashipu knew, oh, actually I am a devotee. No. The Lord clouds them with their Yoga Maya potency. It's a very special arrangement. Very special arrangement. But they are always protected because they are Lord's special associates. So the Lord chooses them to fulfill this. So that is one thing which is achieved. The other thing that is achieved is the Lord has created such beautiful pastimes which are in the Bhagavad and all the Puranas, that we can hear, learn lessons, discuss and become purified. So that's another beautiful benediction. So the Lord achieves multiple things through these pastimes. Rishi, any question? Okay, so another few things about Lord Nrsimha, since there are no other questions. Lord Nrsimha's form is actually very special, even amongst the multiple incarnations of the Lord. Out of the numerous incarnations of the Lord, the Bhagavad says certain incarnations are full incarnations and certain are partial incarnations. Ete chamsha kala pumsa krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam loke mridayanti yuge yuge. Bhagavatam 1st canto 3rd chapter. It is explained like that. Some are full, some are part, and some are part of the part. Kala and amsha. But there are 3 forms of the Lord which are considered full. Which are considered full, which means the full power of God is manifested in them. 3 incarnations. Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, and Lord Nrsimha. These 3 are very special. And that is why you will see generally, even within the ISKCON temples, you generally see these 3 deities worshipped. Ram, Krishna and Nrsimha. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So, is there. He's Krishna himself in the mood of Radha. He is not called incarnation. Incarnation, there are 2 terms, technical terms, avatar and avatari. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Okay? Because he is Swayam Bhagavan, he is not called avatar. When Krishna comes, he is called avatari. When the original person comes himself, he is called avatari. When he sends a portion of himself, it is called an avatar. Okay? This is explained in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the chapter of incarnations. You can read there. Even in the 3rd chapter of 1st canto, this concept is explained.
Lord Chaitanya
is directly Krishna himself. He is avatari. He is actually Krishna only that he has taken the mood of Radharani. The same Krishna who came to Vrindavan 5,000 years ago, exactly the same Krishna has come to Navadip 500 years ago, just taking the mood of Radharani. He's absolutely not different. Okay? Yeah. So, these three forms are very, very special. Ram, Krishna and Narasimha. And since we are speaking about these three forms, I'll tell you what is the speciality of each of these three forms in brief. In very brief. Krishna is Purna Purushottam. He is the original, full, supreme person from whom all other incarnations emanate. And he is full. Full means without limits. Full in power, beauty, everything, and without limits. What is the difference between Ram and Krishna? Ram is also full power. Ram is also full beauty. Ram is also limitless in all other ways. But in that form of Ram, he has put limit on himself to establish the standards of ideal behavior. That is why in the form of Ram, he is called as Maryada Purushottam. Maryada means he sets the standard of ideal behavior. Example, one wife. Krishna, 16,000 no problem. 1 million also no problem. Of course, he never does anything for himself. He did it to protect the girls who were captured by, what is the name of the Asur? Narkasur, yes. Narkasur Vad. The 16,000 princesses who were captured. Actually, Krishna tells, side topic, I just remember, interesting point. All the wives that Krishna married, sometimes people complain why Krishna married so many. Do you know, none of those he wanted to marry himself. Even Rukmini, his principal wife, she wrote a letter, please come and kidnap me, I want to marry you. Because Krishna is Atmaram, Krishna is not bothered by all this. But when his devotees want to serve him in that way, she also told him, come and kidnap me. The kidnap plan was also given by Rukmini only. In all details, I will be going like this, then you come. You are praying to me so intensely that you want to serve me as my wife, okay, I'll come and kidnap. So the Lord came. Of course, the Lord definitely loves Rukmini so much. She is the eternal consort. But the point is, all of them, it was not that Krishna said he wants to marry. Of course, each of these, there are different stories for them. We're not going to that today. But that's a different issue. But Krishna is Purna Purushottam. He is the full Lord who establishes his position as the fully independent Lord. While as Lord Ram is the same powerful Lord who imposes certain behavioral constraints on himself so that he can guide human society with respect to the ideal behavior. Okay? It's not that Lord Krishna doesn't follow ideal behavior. Lord Krishna follows ideal behavior, but at certain special times, for certain special purposes, he doesn't constrain himself by the code of conduct which ordinary mortals have to follow. And in this way, he displays his supreme independence. It is an ornament, it is not a fault. Yes? Okay? This is a detailed topic, we can discuss one day in detail. But this is a very, very important concept also to understand. Correct? Yeah? So the same rules which apply to us doesn't apply to God. Yes? Correct? I'll give you a very simple example so that you can appreciate the point. If I put my hand into your pocket and pick out your wallet there? If I pick it up, I'll be called as a thief. Correct? Yes, without his permission. If I take it, I'll be called as a thief and I'm liable to be punished. Yes? But if Krishna comes, puts hand into your pocket and takes your wallet, can you call him a thief? Why? Huh? Because it was already his. Everything already belongs to him, including you. Yeah. So the morality we apply to ourselves doesn't apply to him because he's on a different platform. His relationship with the world is different from the way we are relating. You understand? We are Jiva who is struggling in Prakriti. He is the Lord of Prakriti. So our laws and his laws are different. Yes. So as Maryada Purushottam, he tries to work within the framework of our laws to set that ideal example. But as Krishna, while he generally follows the law to set the right example, at certain times he says, I am the boss, I will do whatever is needed. But whenever he does that transgression, he does it with a special purpose. And almost always it is to protect his devotees, not for himself. Correct? Yes. If you go through the multiple episodes where he apparently transgressed by human considerations, he did it for a very special purpose, which was not motivated by his own interest, but the interest of either protecting his devotee or honoring his devotee or glorifying his devotee. So that is the form of Ramachandra and Krishna. What is Narsingha? Narsingha is same Krishna with full power. But he is Krishna who is in an angry mood, who is trying to protect his devotee by destroying the obstacles or dangers to the devotee. That is his mood. So in very simple words, Krishna in angry mood is Narsimha. Krishna in a mood to teach perfect moral behavior is Ramchandra. And when he becomes angry, Krishna keeps his flute, he hides his flute. He transforms into a ferocious lion-like form. And in that form, even though he is most terrifying for all the ordinary living entities, he is still most affectionate to his devotees. The demons are afraid of Lord Narsimha, but the devotees are not afraid. I was narrating the story to the children just now. After Narsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, he was so ferocious that even the Devatas could not pacify him. Brahmaji said, I am not going near him. Lord Shiva also said, no, why don't we do this? We'll ask Lakshmi Devi to go and pacify him. Because even after Hiranyakashipu was killed, Narsinghdev's anger did not go away. He was very, very upset. And part of his upset reason was because Brahma had given this benediction to Hiranyakashipu. So finally they told Brahma and Shiva told Lakshmi Devi, your husband, can you pacify him? So Lakshmi Devi said, no, I am fine, he's my husband, but I have never seen him in this form. He's too angry. I can't go and settle the matter. So after that, the Devatas had conference. And the outcome of their conference was, only Prahlad can go and pacify because he came for him. He didn't come for Brahma, he didn't come for Indra. Everybody was in trouble. But who could make Narsingha appear in the pillar? This boy could make him appear. Without waiting, instant appearance. Which pastimes, such kind of an instant appearance? Hardly any pastimes. Other incarnations of the Lord, can you recollect any incarnation where the Lord just appeared like that? At least right now I can't recollect. All the primary incarnations took a natural course until they eventually achieved their respective objectives. Yes. So Prahlad finally approached the Lord, and when Prahlad came, the Lord was pacified. And the description given is, he took Prahlad on his lap, and he was literally, just like a lion licks the cubs. Narsimha was licking Prahlad's body with his spiritual tongue. much to the delight and amazement of all the devatas. So Prahlad is such a special person. So a great devotee is more dear to the Lord even than the devatas. Yes? Correct? So that is another lesson to be learned. And the Lord will even transgress so many things to protect his devotee. It's a very, very beautiful lesson. So Prahlad is one such wonderful example. And that is why Prahlad's character is so much glorified in the scriptures. And many, many great devotees, they love to relish hearing the pastimes of Prahlad. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would love listening to the pastimes of Prahlad again and again and again. And the other Pandit would repeat and Lord Chaitanya would listen. Yeah.
What is transgress?
Transgress means to violate. Yeah.
So Vishnu comes in what form to describe this?
See, Lord Vishnu, the scriptures say Vishnu stu tridi rupani. There are three forms of Vishnu. Vishnu actually is a Purusha avatar of the Lord. Purusha avatar means that form of the Lord which comes for the management of the material creation. That's why Vishnu is called maintainer. So Vishnu is also Krishna. It is Krishna's form only, but for the purpose of maintaining the world. It's a special incarnation. And there is not one Vishnu, but there are three types of Vishnu. Mahavishnu, Garbhodarshay Vishnu and Kshirodarshay Vishnu. The Vishnu whom we commonly refer to as who incarnates into this world is the Kshirodakashay Vishnu, who resides in the milk ocean. That Vishnu comes from Garbhodarshay Vishnu. Who comes from Mahavishnu? Who comes from Sankarshan? Who comes from Mahasankarshan? Who comes from Balaram? Who comes from Krishna? Balaram is also called Sankarshan, but he is the original Sankarshan. From him comes another Chaturvyuha expansion. Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna and Vasudeva. Out of that, from that Sankarshan, who is the Mahasankarshan, comes Lord Narayan. Actually, I missed mentioning Lord Narayan's name. Comes Lord Narayan. From Lord Narayan comes another Chaturvyuha, which is Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. From that Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu. So you have to go 8-10 levels up before you reach Krishna. So all these are forms of God. It is not that they are not God, they are all God. But they are God manifesting different levels of potency. Yeah? Any other question or comment? Okay, so what we will do is we will sing Narsingha Pranam. Yes? We have simple banana prasad because many of us are fasting today. Those who are not fasting can take the banana prasad later. We have also brought the deity of Lakshmi Narsimha here. So later after we sing the Narsingha Pranam, we have some rose flowers, so you can offer one flower each to Lord Narsimha. Another very important thing as sadhakas, sorry, I forgot to mention that. As sadhakas, one of the key reasons why we worship Narsingha, Prabhupada would emphasize this, is we want Narsingha because Narsingha is the form of the Lord who protects his devotees. And when we say protect, it is not just protect us in terms of getting our job protected, our health protected. Yes, he does that also. It's not that he doesn't, he does that also. But the protection that the devotees are asking for is beyond that. They want their spiritual life to be protected. Because what is the greatest loss? Not money. The greatest loss is, because money you can acquire again. The greatest loss is if you forget the Lord altogether, forget the spiritual path altogether and go astray. That is the greatest danger. So devotees pray to Narsingha so that their devotional practices remain intact and any dangers to their spiritual life are removed by the Lord. That is why it is suggested to everyday worship Lord Narasimha. That's why every day when I do the Aarti, after the regular Aarti, we sing the Aarti to worship Lord Narasimha, which we will sing now. So Narasimha removes both material and spiritual obstacles. So we should pray to him. And Narasimha is so kind that if you worship him nicely with proper devotion, he will bless us with devotion to Radha and Krishna. That is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. He says, I am praying to Narasimha so that he gives me pure devotion to Radha and Krishna. Okay. So I think some of you know the song. If you do not know, just try to sing along. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste There will also be a celebration in the ISKCON temple today evening. So if you are free, you are welcome. flyer some time ago.